This video contains minor spoilers about one of the antagonists in the Hellbreakers adventure path. If you are playing in a Hellbreakers campaign or want to go into one fully unspoiled, please stop this video now. This video also explores darker themes that some viewers might consider uncomfortable. The following content warnings apply: body horror, disease, intentional transmission of disease, excessive violence, and death. If at any point you have to step away from this video, please do so and return when you feel it is safe for you to come back. Your own health and safety come first. Hedonists of the world know that life is meant to be enjoyed. As long as your cheeks are flush with warmth and blood pumps through your veins, celebrating life means finding ecstasy in every moment. Drink the wine, eat the food, be with the ones who make your heart leap and your hands shake. The tragedy of all that is, sooner or later, the festivities end. Your body succumbs under the weight of time, and your soul heads for Pharasma's domain. In the boneyard, there is no place for revelry, but only for the slow journeys of the deceased towards their eternal rest. One, however, rejected the idea that pleasure has to end when our final breath is drawn. She stood in Pharasma's court and defied the Lady of Graves. To her, ecstasy is unending. Her escape from death was the spark that ignited her godhood, but also the source of plagues that haunt mortals to this day. She knows what suffering she causes. But what is a little pain when you can revel in glorious consumption for all eternity? She is Urgathoa, the Pallid Princess of gluttony beyond death. Hear now of her origins, her edicts, and the cults that flock to her teachings. Eat carefully from this buffet of insights, and let her sweet rot not corrupt your hunger for knowledge. In the distant past, Urgathoa began her life as a mortal woman. Her followers share stories of how in life, Urgathoa did not deny a single pleasure to herself. Contemporaries of her preaching of restraint or even pleasure in moderation were ignored by this hedonist. Urgathoa believed that life was meant to be savored, for death held no rewards for those who showed restraint. To her, Golarion was a buffet meant to be fully explored and sampled. Alas, Urgathoa still faced the fate of any mortal: death. And so, her revels seemed to have come to an end, and her soul passed on to the boneyard. The boneyard is the domain of Pharasma, the Lady of Graves. From her throne, Pharasma and her judges and psychopomps make sure that every single soul finds its way to a proper afterlife. This process is sacred, believed by many to be essential for the natural flow of the cosmos. Life ends, and in death all find rest. Urgathoa did not want to find rest. When she arrived at the boneyard, she refused to continue on her path to whatever afterlife the specters of death had waiting for her. Her unwillingness to submit to the natural order earned her Pharasma's personal attention. Brought before the Lady of Graves, Urgathoa did not recant. She continued her defiance, rejecting whatever sense Pharasma might have tried to talk into her. When she was prepared to be guided to her afterlife by her own psychopomp, Urgathoa snapped. She killed the psychopomp that was assigned to her and willed her way out of the boneyard. It cannot be overstated what an act of will it is for a mortal being to reject the command of a deity and to then force their soul out of a place specifically designed to keep it in the afterlife. Urgathoa's desire to reject death and to continue to exist in revelry was powerful enough to pull her away from the boneyard and on a path to climb her way out of death. We do not know how arduous that journey was, how long it took, and what marks it left on the Pallid Princess. What we do know is that she succeeded, that she clawed her way back into existence. However, she had not returned to life as she knew it. Her defiance and willpower had not just allowed her to escape death, but also were the spark that ignited divinity inside of her. Urgathoa did not return from death as a mortal, but as a fledgling goddess. The Pallid Princess broke the cycle of life, and with her rejection came the possibility of extending life beyond death. Urgathoa's disruption of the natural flow birthed the first plagues and infections into the world. She does not fear these diseases, though. The pain and suffering from them is yet another exquisite experience to taste, and Urgathoa would soon embrace disease as one of her domains, teaching her followers to revel in them instead of seeking cures. The Pallid Princess did defy death and ascend to godhood, but soon found that in her new form, the pleasures that once exhilarated her in life had dulled. Simple wines were without taste, and even the most glorious banquet prepared by master chefs could not satisfy her hunger. She soon learned that, as the embodiment of endless consumption, it was now her task to seek ever greater debauchery and taste things forbidden and taboo. The Pallid Princess would seek out these pleasures, far beyond the reaches of mortals, and forever dine on the sins of the cosmos. Since her ascension, Urgathoa has gathered followers all over Golarion. The bulk of her faith is composed of both mortals and undead from many walks of life. The common denominator among all of them is their belief that disease and undeath are a source of power. The former is meant to be embraced and spread, a necessary pain to experience in life. The latter is to be achieved and mastered, transcending the limitations of life and being freed to experience true revelry for all eternity. One might argue that adherents of the Pallid Princess are the most honest any mortal could be about their motivations to defy death. The educated wizard might claim their drive to transform into a lich is so that they can master their arcane arts. But is that not just another form of hunger? Another type of desire to be chased beyond the years given to any mortal? Those who want to join Urgathoa in eternal revelry do not sugarcoat their desires with excuses or attempts at rationale. There is no need for such deception among her followers. Religious practices of Urgathoa's faithful begin with the belief that all forms of restraint taught by morality, society, and even your own body are to be cast aside and rejected. Anything in the way of excess is to be ignored, and worshippers are instructed to give themselves to all the experiences life has to offer. Urgathoa's followers seek to gorge themselves on the finest food, share warmth with whoever they desire, but also experience the pain of poisons and disease. The contraction of disease is in itself a sacred deed among the followers of Urgathoa. Those who willingly suffer from pestilence prove that they are willing to give their mortal bodies to sensations others would seek to prevent, and that they know their mortal form is just a temporary one. As long as they possess a body that can feel suffering, these adherents believe they should use it to sample novel sensations and see how the touch of disease can color other experiences. Undeath is one of Urgathoa's domains, as she was perhaps the first to achieve this state of existence. Many of her followers see undeath as the road to ultimate endless pleasure. The magically gifted followers of the Pallid Princess learn the spells necessary to raise undead, and eventually turn themselves into something that is outside of Pharasma's cycle. Others seek out those who can give them immortality. Vampires are among the faithful of Urgathoa, and others of her faith petition them to be turned into children of the night. The most horrifying religious practice among the clergy of Urgathoa is known as the reaping. Senior priests wear clean, new gray robes, arm themselves with a scythe, and set out to spread death and destruction among Urgathoa's enemies. These priests travel from town to town, seeking out those who have earned Urgathoa's ire, and bring a bloody end to them. Upon their return to their temple, the reaping priests display their blood-soaked robes with pride, hoping that their killing spree has garnered them the favor of their mistress. The Pallid Princess rewards the most loyal of her subjects upon their death by transforming them into a child of Urgathoa. While each child has their own unique form, there are some common attributes among them. First, all children of Urgathoa have a fearsome, huge humanoid form, reaching easily up to 15 feet in height. One hand is replaced by a scythe or another weapon perfect for reaping, and they move by using a tail made of elongated spinal columns. A prominent example of a child of Urgathoa is Ilkana Eleanor, the White Mother of Isger. Raised in a cult of the Pallid Princess, Ilkana dedicated her entire life to embodying the tenets of her patron deity. Her service was rewarded when she died at the hands of an undead horde she willingly submitted to. The ancient Kellet scythe called Reaper's Sigh is now fused to her right hand, and she commands the ever-growing cult of Urgathoa in the nation of Isger. She is currently gathering her followers in Finder's Gulch, where she has succeeded in binding a piece of the fallen god Gorum to her chest. Her dark powers amplified by the War Shard, Ilkana seeks to spread her mistress's will all over Isger, turning the entire vassal state into a sacrifice to the glory of the Pallid Princess. Despite all their destructive and bloodthirsty ways, the followers of Urgathoa do believe in the autonomy of individuals. Just as Urgathoa was not to be robbed of her choice to continue her existence by Pharasma, the Pallid Princess commands her faithful to only seek out willing participants in matters of physical pleasure. This autonomy is not extended when it comes to raising the unwilling as undead. Urgathoa and her adherents believe that undeath is the liberation from the chains of the afterlife, so through their lens, being raised into undeath is a favor one should be grateful for. The Church of Urgathoa is not one that is welcomed in most parts of the world, for reasons that are painfully obvious. Followers of her faith have to gather in small groups and in secret. Places of worship to her are designed like great feast halls, decadent masses in her name more occult banquet than rigid religious rite. These temples are often hidden in places such as graveyards and crypts, but wealthy and well-connected followers of Urgathoa might have their own shrines in the basements of magnificent mansions. In Gep, perhaps the only nation in which the worship of Urgathoa is not outlawed, the Cathedral of Epiphenomena is the largest temple in the world dedicated to the Pallid Princess. Ceremonies held in temples dedicated to Urgathoa include the consumption of tainted food, but also other forms of unholy debauchery. The altar of a temple is always covered with a black cloth, which is never to be cleaned, holding the stains of every mass it has witnessed. Priests and clerics of the Pallid Princess use their powers to treat their congregation to pleasures beyond imagination. Her clergy usually wear gray robes with belts or cloaks decorated with Urgathoa's holy symbol, a skull-decorated fly. The robes are often shredded as they descend to the floor, a design meant to emulate sinewy flesh. Some priests wear white and red cloth beneath their robes, representing the blood and bone inside all of us. While all cults of Urgathoa are united by the core tenets and beliefs their goddess dictates, the exact execution of these can differ greatly. Take, for example, the Savoring Society. On the surface, they appear as any eccentric club made up of wealthy people who seek new ways to spend their wealth. However, the Savoring Society provides the rich and powerful of Absalom with ways to sate their most gluttonous, forbidden desires, and every moment of excess is experienced in the name of the Pallid Princess. Their extravagant and vile gatherings can take weeks, for members of the society believe that it is not enough to indulge in material joy, but one also has to slowly savor it. These followers of Urgathoa utilize their wealth and connections to hide their dark desires behind gilded doors and under the veneer of high society. Another very different cult of Urgathoa is the Ashen Church. Members of this cult appear wherever people have been plagued by war, natural disaster, or extreme poverty. The Ashen Church brings these people a message of hope. The suffering they experience now in mortal life is temporary, and the death it might bring is not meant to be feared. The Church invites the hopeless and downtrodden to hear a gentle message about the virtues of undeath and will help ease their pain in this mortal existence. The Ashen Church also teaches respect and understanding for the undead, and their experience in dealing with them has helped many villages. It is through this helpful approach that their message easily spreads through communities, and for the cult of a goddess that revels in blood-stained excess, the Ashen Church is a more friendly and even approachable iteration of the Pallid Princess's faith. While the cults of Urgathoa are shunned in the material world, the Pallid Princess herself also has many enemies among the other gods of the cosmos. Pharasma still has nothing but contempt for her, which is not just due to Urgathoa's personal rejection of death. Her teachings support the creation of undeath, which is anathema to Pharasma. The Lady of Graves is not alone in this hatred for Urgathoa. Other major deities such as Sarenrae and Abadar hate Urgathoa, and their followers are often tasked with rooting out cults of the Pallid Princess. Urgathoa is not without some allies among the gods, as strained as those relationships might be. As the deity of lust, Calistria has mild respect for her, endorsing her followers' need to indulge in their desires. Shaylin and Urgathoa used to argue over the meaning of love in mortal life, and the goddess of beauty and love respected how Urgathoa urged her followers to also revel in the love they feel for one another. However, ever since Shaylin interfered in the beliefs of one of Urgathoa's favorite adherents, the relationship between these two deities has turned from cordial respect to outright hostility. A steadfast ally of Urgathoa is Xiphus, the god of accidental death. The two deities both reside in Bloodrot within the plane of Abaddon and find common ground in their dedication to undeath. It is of no surprise that Urgathoa is also an ally of the vampire queen Zura, demon lord of vampires. Both these deities have blood drinkers among their faithful and encourage them to spread their curse. The demon lord Cabriri, patron deity of Golarion's ghouls, is another demonic friend of the Pallid Princess. The endless hunger of ghouls for the flesh of mortals pleases Urgathoa, and one can imagine her and the Lord of Ghouls smiling at the sight of these undead, giving in to their cravings for the forbidden flesh. There is an allure to the edicts of the Pallid Princess. To be allowed to enjoy excess without any restraint is an enticing thought. To many, the acceptance of suffering through pain and disease also presents a way to cope with them and turn them into a source of power. If suffering is an experience to be cherished, then life holds no true pain anymore. And if a life of pain is only the prelude to an eternal existence with new sights and pleasures to behold, then this pain becomes the first course of an exquisite meal that might never end. In the end, Urgathoa does not care for the exact motivations of her followers. No matter if they come into her arms to find solace from suffering, because they fear the end of life, meaning the end of ecstasy, or if they seek to spread plagues among the weak to separate them from the strong. What matters to the Pallid Princess is that they join her at her endless feast of wonders and never, ever reject a single pleasure the cosmos offers them. May you then dine forever, children of the Pallid Princess, and let rot take root wherever your desires take you. Thank you for watching this video about Urgathoa and her faithful. Has the Pallid Princess played a major role in one of your campaigns? Or have you even played a PC with ties to her? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye!